Hey guys, Solar here, back again with another top 10 video, and today we'll be counting down my top 10 favorite Marvel Legends of 2024. That's right, your eyes did not deceive you when you clicked on this video. That title is correct. That's why you ain't seeing anything yet. It's because we haven't gotten to the meat and potatoes of the video yet, people. Be patient, we'll get to it. But before we get too far ahead of ourselves, we got some ground rules to lay out so you know what you're in for with this list. Rule number 1. Had to come out in 2024. That's pretty obvious, so anything in between the Void Build-A-Figure wave and the Secret Wars wave is fair game. Rule number 2, no movie or cartoon figures or video game figures, although I don't think there was a whole lot of those last year, will be featured in this list. This will be strictly a comic book list. And rule number 3, this one should be blatantly obvious. It's my list. I'm going to pick what I want. That said, I can have more than one figure from a wave on this list. I can have no figures from a wave on this list. Our lists are going to be different because that's what makes things interesting, people. That said, honorable mentions, the Strange Tales wave, because I'm sick of you guys poo-pooing on it all the time. It wasn't that bad of a wave. I think it's a bit of a sleeper hit. That said, we have a top honor to mention about halfway through the list, as well as Build-A-Figure of the Year. We will hold off on that until later, but for now, why don't we kick things off with the number 10 spot. Kicking things off with the number 10 spot, we have a figure I didn't really feel needed an update, but boy oh boy am I glad that he got one. We have the Scarlet Spider from the Spider-Man Retro series, a figure that just made it onto my list by the skin of his teeth, to quote another Red Man, good old Dave Mustaine from Megadeth there. But yeah, Scarlet Spider, on top of the fact that he comes with all of the hands for a Spider-Man figure, is a very well done update to a figure that I thought was good as is. But dang it all, if this wasn't the Mafex killer of 2024, I know a lot of people canceled their Mafex Scarlet Spider pre-orders because of this guy, and that's crazy because I know a lot of people who love themselves some Mafex, so to see that happen is kind of crazy. That said, he's only number 10. I know he's probably number 1 for a lot of you, but he's only number 10 because, well, he is kind of just a red figure with some stuff slapped onto him, so a lot of the other figures on this list, a little bit more complicated than that. Coming in at the number 9 spot is another version of old Webhead, this time possessed by the consciousness of Dr. Otto Octavius. And then, of course, it's going to be none other than the Superior Spider-Man from the Marvel's 85th Anniversary program. There are a few figures from that program on this list, spoiler alert, but this one, not only is it a much-needed update of that, well, pretty trash one we got back in the Ultimate Green Goblin wave. Granted, he was giving you the thumbs up, so maybe he'd make you feel better after having a bad day. I know he has for me. That's a joke, kids. But not only is he a worthy update as far as a base figure goes, but he does include the mechanical spider legs, which is a pivotal part of this character. I think it's really cool that they are much better than the Iron Spider's mechanical legs, so I'm curious if we'll see an update of him in the next few years, because, well, Hasbro likes to sell us the same thing more than once, don't they? But on top of all that, they give you a really cool effect piece, and that was an alternate head with buildings tampoed into the lenses of the eyes to make it look like they were reflecting off his lenses. That's a cool effect. I don't have it on him. I like the straight white eyes the most, personally, but I gotta give him an A for effort on that. That was a really cool touch. Coming in at the number 8 spot, we have good old Frank Castle, aka the Punisher from the War Journal Tupac, with old Bushwhacker there. And while I was content with the Punishers we had before, this one kind of blows him out of the water. I wouldn't say it's by a country mile or anything, but the articulation is a little bit better. He's actually got trigger fingers, unlike my favorite Punisher from years past, the Walgreens exclusive Jim Lee style version. On top of the fact that he does have the trigger fingers, he does have the appropriate hinge for holding weapons, so that is a double thumbs up from this guy. But he is also loaded with accessories. And for whatever reason, Punisher just doesn't come with a buttload of guns most of the time, so it's nice to see that this one came with 4 guns and a grenade. Granted, the scaling might be a little off here and there, but I think this is a very, very nice version of the character. Granted, I do prefer the white gloves and boots, if I'm being honest. Coming in at the number 7 spot is one that may astonish some of you out there, because we, of course, have the Astonishing Wolverine from the Marvel 85th Anniversary Program, because, like I said in my review earlier today of this guy, check that out if you haven't already, would really appreciate it if you did. I know I'm a bit late on the game to that one, but this is a darn good figure. Like I said in that very review, this is a darn good Wolverine. I wish it was the tiger stripe, or at the very least the brown costume version. Astonishing was never my thing, but I definitely felt the FOMO when I initially canceled my pre-order and this dude sold out on me. Luckily, managed to snag him off Amazon for retail price, and I couldn't be happier with it. Granted, I think he should have come with 2 open hands instead of the pointy finger maybe, or just more hands in general, because, well, when else are they going to use these parts, man? I don't see it happening, but I guess it could. At least maybe the arms. So, yeah, really good Wolverine. Astonishing may not be my thing, but I could always fudge him into a modern Avengers display, I suppose. Coming in at the number 6 spot is good old Victor Creed, aka Sabretooth from the Logan 2-pack from the Wolverine, was it 50th Anniversary Program? That's right, because we do not have a lot of good Sabretooth figures in this line. I think the AOA version of Sabretooth is probably the best Sabretooth we've got, and it's not, you know, a traditional looking Jim Lee style Sabretooth like this one here. Now granted, some people think he should be bigger. I'm not opposed to that. You know, I like me some monster Venom as opposed to just normal size Venom sometimes. Both characters, mind you, were utilized on the Hyperion body mold, the atrocious Hyperion body mold, now updated with Omega Red, which, you know, why weren't they using this body sooner? This body's so good. It's so good. That said, shy of coming, or not coming, I should say, with some fist hands, I don't think they could have done any better with old Victor Creed here. Yeah, people think he should have pinless legs, but that doesn't really bother me too much, if I'm being completely honest. Coming in at the top honor spot, since we are halfway through the list after all, we have Cable from the Zabu Build-A-Figure wave, specifically Ultimate Marvel vs. Capcom Cable, who will look really good alongside that new Marrow from the Nemesis Genocide, whatever they can call it, so they can put the toy out, Build-A-Figure wave, because, well, I think UMVC needs a little bit more love, and I'm hoping that this year we get some of that. Fingers crossed they're good, and not just a bunch of but I guess time will tell. That said, the reason this guy's a top honor and not on the list is because I didn't care for how they did the boots, and his hip range is pretty crap, I'm not gonna lie. Also, I think he could have had some more guns and maybe more hands, just to really give you the UMVC feel, you know. But for what it's worth, at standard price point, I think they did a good enough job for him to at least be mentioned honorably on my list. Coming in at the number 5 spot, sticking with the Marvel vs. Capcom thing, funny enough, because this guy was in UMVC 3, we have Taskmaster from the Cabal 3-pack, also a part of the Marvel 85th Anniversary Program, and this is a figure I'm surprised a lot more people aren't talking about. I don't know if it's just because it's Vulcan reuse or whatnot, but this Taskmaster is the best Taskmaster figure out there, next to maybe the Diamond Select one, which has 2 different head sculpts, a little bit more accessories, you know, the whole 9 yards. I would say I don't even think this guy needs any extra hands. I think he just needs a better shield, because we're still using that stupid clip. I mean, what are we doing here? And maybe some soft goods on the cape. I'm not the biggest soft goods guy. I like them on my Mythic Legions and whatnot, but I feel like Marvel Legends needs to step it up, because even McFarlane's doing wired capes on $20 figures now. I think it's high time they do the same, especially with Taskmaster here being a very agile character who rides a Sky Cycle, whatever you call that thing he jacks from Hawkeye there, I think a cloth cape would make him a little bit easier to fit on one of those. So, you know, that's just my 2 cents, but a really awesome figure, the complete package as far as I'm concerned. And that's really what it takes to make it onto my list in the first place. Having all the stuff you need to put the figure in any pose you want with any accessory they're used to having. And that's what this figure embodies to the fullest extent. Coming in at the number 4 spot is a character that I am very surprised we got in the calendar year 2020 FOA, and that is going to be the fan channel / SDCC exclusive Deluxe Death's Head. The only deluxe figure to make it onto my top 10 because, well, my rules from the beginning, and quite frankly, I think out of all the deluxes, this one brought the most to the table as far as quantity for the price point. You get a lot of figure here, you get a lot of accessories, and granted, I think he's missing a couple of hands, maybe. Especially like 2 grip hands. He probably would have ranked a spot higher if he had 2 grip hands, because I have the old Marvel Universe, or was that Marvel Legends 3 3/4 inch version of this character, and I was like, man, it'd be awesome if they made this guy in 6-inch scale, like they did with Death's Head 2, and lo and behold, they did it. Surprised he's not used in the movie Colossus Arms, but I'm not here to point out the flaws with these figures. I'm here to praise them, and I am very happy that the fine folks over at Hasbro got around to making good old Death's Head #1 here, because I really wasn't sure if it was going to happen, because the rights to this character are kind of weird. He was in Transformers, he had something to do with Doctor Who. It's a cluster bleep, because, well, comics. Coming in at the number 3 spot is a figure that held the number 1 spot for quite some time throughout the calendar year 2020 FOA. To a lot of you guys, a surprise maybe, but it's going to go to Jack-O-Lantern from the Spider-Man Retro Wave we got this past year, because dang it all if this isn't one of the goofball, stupid Spider-Man villains that I've been clamoring for some time now. I have the old Toy Biz figure, 90s Toy Biz figure. I've had the later Toy Biz figure from the Spider-Man Classics line. I got the older one from the Absorbing Man wave, is it? And now we have this one. This one, clearly the best. It's modeled after that original Toy Biz figure. And granted, while he doesn't come with a giant bug that shoots a pumpkin out of it, look the Toy Biz figure up if you're curious about that. Bugbusters, by the way, is the line it's from. It's an awesome figure. I think shy of an extra hand or two, and maybe another pumpkin bomb, I would say. He's got the complete package. You get everything you need with this figure, except I guess a flight stand too, but let's face it, Hasbro's never going to give us those ball peg flight stands. You're gonna have to, I don't know, try and find some speeder bikes from the Black Series line if you want some of those. Coming in at the number 2 spot is not only my number 2 favorite Marvel character of all time, but my favorite Spider-Man villain of all time, and that of course is going to be none other than Venom. Classic Toddy Mac style Eddie Brock Venom, which will look good with that $50 Spider-Man that's coming out later this year, I assure you. And granted, well, I'm not big on the web patterns on his forearms. It's not accurate to the comics at all. It's an animated series thing. I still like this figure a lot. I was debating on putting him on this list at all because of that, but I couldn't help it. Despite the fact he was a Walmart exclusive, he actually was relatively easy to get a hold of, at least compared to the Target exclusive Carnage, his red and black with crazy white teeth and eyes counterpart with sickle hands. So yes, Venom. Another Venom. We don't get a lot of good ones in this line, but when they are good, they are, well, good. And of course, my Build-A-Figure of the year is going to be none other than Blackheart, the son of Mephisto from the Strange Tales wave. You should have seen the foreshadowing earlier in the video, people. I already said that the Strange Tales wave was my honorable mentions, with the exception of Cable being top honors for my top Legends of 2024, because I thoroughly enjoyed getting all those figures, putting this Blackheart together, posing them all up, and doing those videos right before Christmas for a little bit of Nightmare Before Christmas action. I mean, on top of the fact that Blackheart is an awesome Baph with, you know, a couple shortcomings. We'll say the wired tail is not the best, and yes, his ankles could be better, but as far as my experience with the figure is concerned, I didn't have any major quality control issues other than I did have to loosen up a couple of joints with some soap, but I loved this wave. I'm so happy we finally got Lilith to fight our Midnight Suns. We got Dracula to go up against Blade, the son of Satan himself, Damien Hellstrom, to go with our supernatural side of the Marvel Universe, and probably one of the better Moon Knight figures out there with the West Coast Avengers version of good old Moon Knight. So yes, Blackheart, Baph of the Year, Strange Tales, Wave of the Year. Fight me in the comments below if you will, but I'ma stand by those statements. And of course, my #1 Marvel Legends figure of 2020 fella is going to be none other than Danny Ketch Ghost Rider from the Marvel's 85th anniversary program, because not only was the Marvel 85th anniversary program one of the best programs in the history of Marvel Legends, at least over the past half decade or so, but it delivered, in my opinion anyways, the best Marvel Legends figure of the year. Am I biased? Well, probably. Danny Ketch is my favorite fictional character of all time, and I have been clamoring for an updated version of him from the fine folks over at Hasbro for some time now, and I'm gonna say, with the exception of a couple extra hands and maybe an alternate Danny Ketch head, they delivered 110%. This figure is awesome. I like the bike. I don't mind that it doesn't have the headlights. I think that actually is accurate to some modern interpretations of the character. Don't quote me on that, but yes, I absolutely love this release. And if you're complaining about that new Spider-Man costing $50, well then do yourself a favor and buy this guy instead, because hey, he at least comes with a bike, right? And there you have it, folks, my top 10 favorite Marvel Legends of 2020 fella. Did you like my list? Did you dislike my list? Because ultimately, it doesn't matter, because I like what I like. And last I checked, this was my video and my list. You're free to like whichever figures you like, and let me know about those in the comments below. Let me know what your top 10 favorite Marvel Legends of 2024 were, but let's try to keep things civil, because at the end of the day, if we all like the same thing, life would be rather boring, wouldn't it? That said, fingers crossed Hasbro can deliver another awesome year of Marvel Legends moving forward, because I gotta be honest, 2024 was a bit of a wild card. I wasn't expecting them to deliver as much awesomeness as they did, but I guess a ton of loss of profits might have actually helped pull the head out of their keister, didn't it? So, with that being said, I hope you guys enjoyed this top 10 video. Stay tuned. I probably got some more going up for 2024. I mean, we do have that infamous top 13 of 2024 I keep talking about, right? So stay tuned for all that. And until next time, I'll catch you guys later.